Welcome to Take Me With You, Episode 6. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Cheryl. We are two well-traveled people who want to go everywhere.
But that's not going to happen. Instead, we'll travel vicariously by inviting a guest to share their unique travel stories with us.
Today, we are talking to my co-host, Ryan, about his recent trip to the Redwoods.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, I'm so excited. A few episodes ago, we talked about your plans to go to the Redwoods, and I told you a story about the Trees of Mystery.
You did tell me about the Trees of Mystery.
And I'm so excited to hear about it. So, gotta start by asking you, what was the highlight of your trip?
The highlight of my trip, you know, it makes me almost sad to say this, but I think it might have almost been the drive down. It may not have actually been the Redwoods.
Okay.
But the drive down, because we drove down Highway 101 down the Oregon coast, and it was so beautiful.
Isn't
just like
it?
The ocean we cut over, so we missed kind of the northern part of Oregon.
Okay.
Because we came down and we didn't go over to 101 until Portland.
Okay.
So we went all the way down to Portland and then cut over.
Yeah.
And so we missed kind of the northern part where a lot of Washingtonians go to vacation.
Like Cannon Beach?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we went through Newport and we went through a whole bunch of other places, but like the kind of central and southern coast of Oregon was just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Cool.
So yeah, I think that may actually have been my highlight, which I feel weird about saying because it was the trip to the Redwoods. But and don't get me wrong, the Redwoods were cool too. But
yeah, but that's a fun thing when you live north of the Redwoods. Is part of a Redwoods trip is doing the Oregon coast. Yeah, and so like that's very fun that you got to do that. So, have you been to anywhere on the Oregon coast before?
Yes, I have. I was either in high school or college. My dad took me and my sisters. We went out to the coast for a little while. Also, some friends from a very, very long time ago that you know, Ian and Katie. His parents have a place in Seaside, which is like very, very north Oregon. Yeah. And so I've been there twice. 3 times, something like that. Okay, so cool. But I'd never done the southern part of the Oregon coast.
Oh, fine.
I don't think
so
I'd ever been.
Did you see the dunes?
I mean, yes, from the car window.
Okay, yeah.
Like we didn't go
They're
out
really
and
cool.
walk on the dunes or anything.
Okay, yeah. They're just so interesting, and all the rockiness is really fun.
It's
there
really
too.
Cool.
That's awesome. So fun. Okay, and I don't like bummer questions as much, but what was the low part of the trip?
Mosquitoes.
Really?
Oh, definitely. So we were actually in the Redwoods for like a day and a half, almost 2 days. So we did it. It was a total of like 4 days. So we left on a Wednesday and drove back on a Saturday. So it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Yeah, 4 days. So we made it like partway down the Oregon coast on Wednesday. We didn't leave quite as early as we had originally planned. And then we made it into the northern part of the Redwoods, Crescent City, on Thursday, and so we kind of found a hotel and kind of checked in, so we had stuff, and then drove out to one of the sites where Star Wars was filmed. Because I mean, it's me and Kyle, and we're very big Star Wars fans, so we had to go to the site one of the sites, because there were many of them, where Star Wars was filmed. So we popped out there, and we ended up being there sort of in the like late afternoon, early evening, which is like perfect mosquito time.
Oh, okay.
And mosquitoes really, really like me.
Oh.
And they've always liked me, so this is nothing new. But it was like being eaten alive.
Oh,
and then
boy.
And then the next day, it was the same thing. So then Friday, we drove out to this other spot that I can tell you a little bit more about later that was extra cool. It was like more off the beaten path, but it was really, really cool. And same thing, like it was that kind of later afternoon, and once we get out into the trees, it's cooler, where the mosquitoes are more comfortable, and just like got all sorts of mosquito bites. I was like, really? So yeah, that would have to be my low, is mosquitoes.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, they should have gotten the memo that they were not invited on your trip, but
I tried to communicate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just yelling into nothingness. You're not welcome here, and people are like, "Who's that guy?"
Well, you know how not all mosquitoes are the same. I don't know how well versed in mosquitoes you are, and I'm not even talking about like the different species because who knows? They may all be the same species, but some of them tend to be like more aggressive than others, and like some of them hurt and itch more than others. The bites do. At least that's been my experience, because mosquitoes like me a lot. Mm-hmm. I've always been very attractive to mosquitoes, and like one of them, like I felt it stick its proboscis in my arm. Like usually you don't feel it, and I felt it, and I looked down and I like flicked it off. I was like, "Get off me!" It was like, ugh. It was not fun.
That's a really fun word of the day. Proboscis? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Now that I say that, I need to double check and make sure that's the right word. I'm pretty sure it is.
Proboscis. I've never heard that word in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Is that their little nose?
Yes. The nose of a mammal, especially when it is long and mobile. See, this is a trunk of an elephant or the snout of a tapir. So maybe that's technically not a proboscis on a mosquito.
Let's see what I would call it, because I would call it the nose, which I guess would be proboscis. So it's a very Cheryl way of calling it, I guess.
I want to know what it. See, now I want to know what it's called, and I'm not finding it.
Well, maybe it was an elephant, though.
Oh no, it is called a proboscis. Okay, the definition that Google gave originally was wrong. Yeah, a tube-like mouth parts called a proboscis.
So does an anteater have a proboscis?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The more you know.
Dun, da, da, or whatever the sound is that it makes. We can find that and put that in later.
Yeah, there we go.
See, learning science with Ryan.
Aw, learning science with Ryan. It is fun because I don't know much in the way of science, so I do appreciate it.
You probably know more than you give yourself credit for.
So you would kind of mentioned before that, like, your friend Kyle, who you went on this trip with, that he is not a planner.
Right.
And you are a planner.
Correct.
So what did planning look like for this trip, and then what types of things happened on the fly? Follow-up question, how did you feel about all of that?
So because I am a planner, I did a whole lot of research ahead of time anyway, just to know what to expect and to have an idea of where to go and things we might want to stop and see or do or whatever. And so I had done way more research than I probably needed to for just a 4-day road trip. And found all these different sites and, top 10 lists and maps. And I mean, that's how I found the Star Wars location, the two different Star Wars locations that we went to. And so kind of did a whole bunch of research, and then also just kind of had a general in my head idea of where to go, like how far south we would go, like where we might stop. I looked at some like, oh yeah, there's like, I don't remember how many, but there's the state parks and then there's the national parks, and they kind of like overlap with each other, but there's multiple redwood parks. And so it's like, which one or ones do you go to, and where do you stop? Where do you not stop? When do you, all of that sort of stuff. And so I had done some research ahead of time with that, just online with stuff. The first night we stayed in Coos Bay in Oregon, and we didn't have any reservations for places to stay. And the first hotel we stopped at was booked.
Okay. How did you feel in that moment?
I was like, see, this is why we plan ahead. I didn't say that out loud. And it worked out fine because another hotel that we had already passed that was just a few blocks up was available. And so we were able to get in no problem. Like it wasn't a crisis. And we had also brought like tents and sleeping bags as a backup in case we couldn't find something. And that was Kyle's idea. So yeah. Neither of us wanted that as like our main thing because I have found that the older I get, the less appealing sleeping on the ground is. Not that it was ever appealing, but it's just less appealing. So then after that, because I knew things were fairly busy and I assumed they would be even busier as we got into the Redwoods, I had kind of, based on how far we made it the first night, I looked on Google Maps and was looking for areas where I knew there were a lot of hotels. Because also as we'd been driving down the coast, we had seen a lot of just the more boutique-y is the wrong word, but like the like independent places, and a lot of them had like ocean views and things, and none of those places had vacancies. They all said that they were full, no vacancy, no vacancy, no vacancy. And so it wasn't until we got to a bigger city where there were a lot of different like chain hotels available. So I was like, okay, so that means we need to stay in cities where there are a lot more hotel options, because there's a higher chance that there's going to be a vacancy. And then I also was able to convince I didn't have to like argue or anything, but like I suggested, and he was fine with, when we would drive through, we often would drive through the city. So like we got into Crescent City by like early afternoon. I was like, okay, let's find a hotel and get it now. Then we can drive out, go see our first Redwood sites, but we'll already have a place to stay. I don't have to worry about that. And we did that also so that was the second night. And the third night we stayed in Eureka, which is farther south. And we did the same thing because we had driven down there, gotten in like early-ish afternoon, booked a room, then went off and did the rest of the stuff that we were doing and came back, which again was a good plan because it looked like it had gotten pretty booked by the time it was evening and we got back. So that's part of where it like validates my planner-ness. It's a good idea to have a plan and to think ahead, because it worked out.
There you go. And then did you come back up on I-5?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We drove, so because we had stayed down in Eureka, which is farther south, the third night, and then to get back up to I-5, the fastest way was to actually go back up through Crescent City where we'd already been, and then go on, I don't know what the highway is, but that takes you to Grants Pass in Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
And that drive was actually really, really pretty also.
Cool.
Very different terrain than what we had seen up to that point. So very like kind of arid, mountainous, dry, but like river canyon and like river with rapids and things running through it. It was really cool. And then of course it was filled with smoke from fires, which was less cool. But
yep, that's the part of the seasonal nature. Yeah. Very cool. So one thing you and I talked about before that I kind of try to give you a heads up on was gas and food.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear like how'd that go?
It went fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So the gas, like there was one time where I was like, ooh, I should have pulled off on the last exit, but it was when we were coming up I-5 on the way home.
Oh, okay.
Like everything else the way through. One of Kyle's things, he likes to be efficient. And so if we were going to stop for something, he wanted to stop for like multiple things. So if we were going to stop for food, let's also get gas. Even if we don't need it, we're stopped, so let's do that. And I think that actually worked really well, sort of as a strategy. Yeah. And so there was really, and like I said, there's really only the one time, and it was fine because there was another exit and we were fine. But being the planner and being paranoid.
The paranoid planner.
That's me. Palmer, the paranoid planner.
That's funny. I'm a planner, but I'm not a paranoid planner. I am a excited planner, maybe? I don't know what I am exactly. Precautious?
That's not a word.
Precaution is a word.
Yes. I don't know. Just something about the way you're saying it sounds funny.
Well, I did end it in a question mark, so maybe that's it. Precautious. Isn't precautious a word?
I mean, maybe it is.
This episode is just going to be ask
all about the
questions. Words. Precautious. It's a word.
All right. Precautious. Using or displaying precaution. Yep, it's a word. It's a really helpful definition, right?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Cool. I'm so glad that was good. So now you got to tell me about the famous places in the Redwoods. I mean, or on the way, but really in the Redwoods. I got to hear.
You want to hear about the trees of mystery?
Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh.
Ready.
The trees of mystery were memorable. Mm-hmm. And very unmysterious.
Yeah, pretty straightforward trees. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely straightforward trees. I definitely enjoyed Paul Bunyan and Babe more than I probably should have. I don't remember if you talked about them previously or not, but
briefly.
If anyone doesn't know about this, first of all, Google Trees of Mystery. It's special. But like there's a big giant, I don't even know how tall, but a big giant statue, but statue doesn't even get the right word. But of
you're right, statue doesn't
Paul
like
Bunyan.
accurately like give you the picture that you need.
No, it really doesn't. Anyway, and Babe, the big blue ox. And they're a giant. And the thing is, Paul will talk to you. So there's like a voice coming out of Paul Bunyan. But what's even more impressive to me is that somehow whoever is voicing Paul also has a camera. It's not just a recording, because he would interact with the people who were actually like walking around, and like they would talk to him and he would respond. And it was impressive. It was impressive.
Paul Bunyan is 49 feet tall and Babe is 35 feet tall.
That particular Paul Bunyan and Babe.
Yes.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Very large.
Yeah, it really is like the definition of tourist trap, because you're on Highway 101 and there's a giant, and statue, again, doesn't really reflect what it is. Colorful statue maybe gets you in the right direction, you know?
Yeah.
Like right on the side of the road like,
well, and
how
the
can you
signs,
not stop?
The signs for it started over 100 miles away.
Yeah.
Kyle and I were impressed with their advertising.
They must pay a lot in advertising. Yeah.
Although what's interesting is they are not as aggressive in their advertising traveling north as they are traveling south.
Oh.
Because we also traveled north.
Yeah.
And we had to drive past it on our way back, and it wasn't
that's funny.
Very good.
Yeah. So, I described it to you kind of like if you enjoy a bad movie, you'll enjoy the Trees of Mystery. What do you think about that?
I think that's an accurate, yeah, because it's, like the trees themselves are cool. There's definitely some cool trees, and they have like these little pedestal things that you push a button and then like it gives you like a narration, but it sounds like a 1950s Disney documentary. And Kyle's convinced that is how old it actually is, and maybe it is. I'm not sure.
67 years apparently.
But like they haven't updated it that whole time.
Oh, I mean, here, I'll read about it while you tell me about it.
Okay. I mean, it was again, the trees were really impressive and big and beautiful, and that was really cool. I was definitely bothered by some of the signage that they had.
I don't know what you're talking about at all, so.
Because some of it was just plain wrong. Like, there was, I think you may have mentioned something about this, but there was a big, it's called a burl. It looks like a knot on the side of a tree, but it's like very, very big and bulbous. And there's a sign, and it talks about how no one really knows what causes these. And I'm like, I have trouble believing that. And then later on, we went to one of the ranger stations in the redwood forest, which technically this is not part of the redwood forest. It's private land, the Trees of Mystery, and you have to pay to go in. But like we were in like one of the state or national parks and stopped at one of the ranger stations and we're looking at the exhibits and things, and lo and behold, there was a sign, and I was like, this, and it was like the anatomy of a redwood tree, and it like there's a burl and it describes it. I think I'll bet you I even took a picture of it. I'll almost guarantee you I can find wherever this I took a lot of pictures because that's kind of what I do. There it is. Yeah, I did. It says, a burl found on the trunk is a mass of dormant buds which seem to lack the ability to regenerate. These are usually caused by disease or injury. That doesn't sound like we have no idea to me.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it was
so funny.
Yeah, and then there was like the wood carvings like at the end. There's like the trail of tall tales or something, and they were creepy. Like,
yeah, apparently they're like chainsaw carvings, which makes a little more sense in like
but
the
they're
style
creepy.
Of them. They're so creepy. Yeah, they're very
like,
strange.
Like your nightmares. Like you could shoot a horror film there, and you would believe that those things would like come to life and kill you. It's like that kind of creepy. And yeah, and there was a giant mosquito, which I was not a fan of. I mean, not an actual mosquito, but like a carving, or was it metal, or I don't remember. And then there was the gondola, which was included in the price of entrance. I think it was like $18 or something. And we had to wait for probably like 15 or 20 minutes to get on the gondola. And the guys are like, oh, don't worry. It's not that long coming down. It's always longer going up than going down. And we went up, and I was expecting that it was going to be like all this stuff to go see. It's just like a platform. Mm-hmm. And it's a decent view, but it's not, you can sort of see like the ocean a little bit. And then you just get back in a line for another 15 or 20 minutes and take the gondola ride down.
So you were not impressed with that part of it?
I was not, but to be fair, I've been on a number of gondola rides like that before. So it wasn't a novel experience for me. And I've even done it in a forest. Like I did it in a rainforest when I was in Australia. So like I've got a relatively high bar that I don't think most people have. Like Kyle loved it and thought it was super cool. It is super cool. I'm not trying to say that like I don't think it was cool. I just think that it didn't impress me as much because I've seen other things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So
well, and I even am trying to compare my experience to yours, and I think a key difference is like when I was there was not a line at all, and hardly anyone was around because we were there in like late September, and so part of it was like we just like hopped on. And then, like, nobody was up on that platform. So it was, like, kind of fun to, like, have the space to ourselves, and everything. Yeah. And so, like, that can be, like, a different experience with or without so many people there as well. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's so funny, though. Are you glad you went in the Trees of Mystery?
I mean, it's a memorable experience. I don't know that I think it's worth $18.
No, it's not.
So like I remember you said for you it was one of the few places where you could take your dog Gracie, so that was really, really helpful. And it's definitely like it's family friendly. It's like there's a really clear path that you walk on as opposed to just like hiking through the forest or the woods or whatever. So it wasn't bad. I never felt unsafe or anything like that. But compared to, I think that may have been one of the first redwood places we went to. But compared to like being in the redwood forest, like I don't feel like it holds a candle. In my opinion.
Yeah. I would say for dog owners, like highly suggest because getting to spend time outside walking around trails in the Redwood National Forest, like with a dog, so like that, that's very cool. But I think that's a good point is like I feel like everything they do cheapens like the impressiveness of the trees. You know what I mean? Like they'd be more impressive if there weren't signs pointing to them almost. You know, if you just got to like enjoy being there. But I will say, like, I don't know, maybe the admission was worth it for me in the sense of like my sister and I laughed so hard because of like it's like so exactly our humor because we love bad movies, so it's like the same type of thing. Like, and also it was years of anticipation for What Are the Trees of Mystery. But I agree with you that like stop by, take a picture with Paul, and be on your way and go to some other
and go in the gift shop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So what do you think about the gift shop?
I mean, I definitely took a picture of the fairy elves.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't buy any for my own,
fairy
elven
elf collection. Yeah,
I didn't. But
oh my goodness. Yeah. Did you get any fudge in the gift shop?
No, didn't buy anything.
Okay, there is fudge there, so that's pretty exciting for people.
But I will say, if you liked that gift shop, I got another one for you.
Oh, okay.
So it must have been Crescent City. It must have been our first night in one of those. Yeah. So this was Crescent City. So we stayed in a hotel that was right next door to, and now I'm trying to remember what it's called. I might not even have a picture of the name of it. But it was like, it's this aquarium thing where you can like see the sea lions or whatever.
Okay.
And it's highly advertised. So if you go to Crescent City, you'll see a brochure for it. And I just wanted to pop in the gift shop because I assumed it would have a particular style to it. And boy, did it.
What was it like?
How do I describe this to you, Cheryl? Like, think of every possible combination of things you could buy as like a tourist trinket.
Okay.
They have them all. They have every type.
So they like opened up the catalog and just ordered one of everything with their name on it.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think,
keychain,
is there an
flashlight?
Oh, I mean,
postcard.
Okay, no, that is amateur stuff. That is amateur stuff, Cheryl. I need to find a way.
Umbrella? Do we have any umbrellas?
Definitely. There were definitely umbrellas.
Pajamas, maybe.
I didn't look at the clothes very carefully, but there was a whole clothes section in back, and one of the gals who was there told me that was her section. So, had any questions, I should let her know.
People had sections of the stores?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Oh, Be jealous. Let's see if I can do this.
So if that gift shop burned down, they would lose like millions of dollars then or something.
Yeah, maybe I can post a few of the pictures to our Instagram or something.
Yeah, you got it.
One of the ones that I took a special picture of it was a little shelving unit, I guess, that's labeled artistic gifts. And it has it's sort of how would I describe it? I mean, so there's a lot of skulls. Yep. There's some steampunk going on there. There's fairies and dragons. Some of the fairies are steampunk fairies. And then they've got like a couple of like flowers kind of woven in. I think that's an owl. Seriously, it's special.
Okay, so the title Artistic Gifts feels like, do you know when you combine apps on your phone into one folder and your phone tries to come up with a title for that folder? It's like, a productivity, health, and you're like, no, phone. This feels like that with artistic gifts, where it's like when you combine all these things, they're like, I don't know what to call this, so I guess it's artistic gifts.
Yeah, it's special. Okay, I just sent you a link to the picture. Okay. Let's see if this works.
Oh. No, I don't like that.
Yeah. Isn't that special?
I think instead of artistic gifts, it should be called cursed objects.
Yep.
Like this could be in Nocturne Alley in Harry Potter.
For sure it could. Yes. I completely agree with that.
I also don't like the shelf itself, but that's its own issue.
Well,
it also looks like it should have Christmas items on it based on the font and colors of the shelf.
Yeah,
too.
It's a little it's
oh boy.
And here's an overview of like the whole shop just from one corner. I couldn't capture it all. Okay. Like the whole kids toys section is not pictured in this other one.
Oh, there's so much happening. It looks like a thrift store.
It
looks like a Goodwill in there.
But it's not.
What?
Right? Like so like on the right-hand side you can see like the clocks, right? Because you may need a clock.
Oh, and then there's colored liquid things with the liquid and the different
the Galileo thermometers.
Yeah, okay.
There's like some sort of globe things hung from the ceiling.
That's like glass blown things. That's pretty fancy.
Right?
Yeah.
And then like if you look towards the center, you can see like the shark mouth picture frames.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right?
Well, that is a large clothing section back there.
Yeah. That's why it's her section. Yeah. With like the 1990s neon light on the
shot
back.
glasses and mugs.
Like,
For one souvenir shop, that's too many shot glasses.
Right. And again, this is not the whole shop.
Whoa.
So yeah, you've got something to add to your list, Cheryl. It's a place to go.
Well, okay, if I went there, I would just try to like organize and like simplify it for them, though.
But you can't, Cheryl. There's so much there.
Half of 3/4 of it needs to be removed for the amount of like space they have. Even I'm concerned.
Yeah,
they need to downsize. Also, what is their brand? They do not have that figured out either. Like what their brand.
Oh, sure
is.
They do. Tourist.
People with money. That is our brand. Oh boy. Okay, but in the artistic gifts photo, the back top of that shelf, like sitting on top of the shelf, there's a large black thing.
Oh,
Is it a giant dragon or what is it?
I think so. Oops.
Or is that Satan himself? Or
no,
like,
it's definitely not Satan. Come on now.
Okay. There's also like an old record player right next to it. And
yeah, like a phonograph, like the big, yeah.
And then like a captain's wheel.
Uh-huh. Yep. And the security camera.
Purple dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. So what the dragon thing that you're seeing the bottom of the dragon, and its claws are holding up a glass table.
Ew. Oh, I do not like that at all.
Do you prefer the purple dragon that's in front of it? It's more the kind of Chinese Asian style dragon instead of the European style dragon.
Whatever the style of those items and that store is the opposite of my style. Like,
I should have gotten you something, Cheryl.
Oh, no, thank you. Do not waste your money.
So, this is called Ocean World.
Oh, that's so generic.
Ocean World Aquarium and Gift Shop.
That sounds like a place from a TV show when they couldn't actually use the title of a real aquarium. So the kids were like, let's go to Ocean World.
I mean, yeah. But
that's like just
a
Cheryl, rip-off of SeaWorld.
It's really more than just an aquarium. It's entertainment for the whole family.
Ooh, as is the Trees of Mystery. So, wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know why that wasn't your highlight, but...
Ooh, oops. My bad.
Oh, man. I guess the Oregon coast is part of the ocean and part of the world, so...
that is true. That is true.
So, Ocean World. Oh boy, I just feel like I need to go like take a bath after that or something, like cleanse myself.
So maybe I should just talk about how amazing the actual trees were then, maybe instead of talking about all the like scary.
I want to hear
about
the trees, and I want to hear about Star Wars.
So, so Kyle and I drove out from Crescent City out to the east a little bit to, I don't remember the name. I can look it up. I will look it up. But we drove out to the east a little bit to one of the redwood forest areas that supposedly was one of the places where Star Wars was shot. And we go to the address that I had found online, and it took us to a truck stop.
Ooh.
How
much did they pay to get that?
Yeah, no, that wasn't it. So, like, the address, either Google picked the wrong address or the map thing wasn't quite as reliable. Okay. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, because supposedly there was supposed to be a sign. Anyway, so we had just right before then had passed one of the ranger stations, so we went ahead and went into the ranger station, which rangers are so awesome. Can I just share how awesome rangers at state and national parks are? Because a lot of them are volunteers. Not all of them. Some of them are paid, but a lot of them are volunteers, especially like in the summer. And their whole purpose is to just help you appreciate the park, which I think is so cool. So we had gone into one of the ranger stations, and kind of one of the things that I like to do sometimes is be like, just, hey, tell me what thing I shouldn't miss. Right? Like, instead of asking like a specific question, it's like, yeah, what is it that I should know? Like, where should I go? Where shouldn't I go? You know, some of those sorts of things. And so the ranger, that's right. I should not have forgotten this because it's such a cool name. Jedediah Smith, Redwoods State Park.
Wait, is that the name of the ranger?
Oh, no, sorry. That's the park. Jedediah Smith.
I thought you meant that the ranger's name was Jedediah Smith.
Oh, I don't know the ranger's name. I'm so sorry.
What a unique name combined with such a boring name.
Right? Anyway, so they recommended that, because I was like, okay, so where should we go? What things should we do and see? And she recommended this drive that's like on a gravel road. It's like unpaved. And instead of kind of going the way that we originally went in, to kind of go back this other way. And so we drove back, and it was in the right direction to head us back towards Crescent City. And so we kind of drove down and drove through there, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. And it's one of those things where it's like you're just driving, and it's like, oh, okay, we're going to stop here and pop out and just take pictures and just enjoy it. And it's just like the trees are so big. They're tall and they're wide, and their bark is so distinctive because it has really, really like deep grooves. And then sometimes it twists. So like as it goes up, it like has a little bit of a twist to it. And because the grooves are more or less vertical, like going up and down, you can see the twist as it goes up. It's super cool. I very much enjoyed it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Did you get any Star Wars time then?
So, yeah, basically what Kyle and I came to the conclusion was, it was like, yeah, basically we're in Endor. And in case anyone doesn't know what Endor is, shame on you. But also, it's the forest moon in Return of the Jedi that has the Ewoks, which are the people think that they look like teddy bears.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Ewoks are adorable.
They also are savage, but they can also be cute.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. They're cute.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so we kind of we drove around there and saw some really cool things. And I mean, at this point, I'm just describing trees. And that's one of the things about the redwoods, which it's like, okay, so they're big trees. What's the big deal? It's really hard to describe. Like, you just have to go and see them. They are so impressive. And there were several places. One of them was actually at the Trees of Mystery. They had one. And then at one of the ranger stations that we stopped at, had one too, but a cross section. So like a tree that had fallen down, and then they like cut it into kind of not a stump. I don't know what the word is, but you know where it's just like a cross section, like if they
like
were to
how
cut
you
it in,
cut
out
a
the
sugar
middle.
cookie, like you roll it and then you cut it. You cut the roll.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's how you made sugar cookies, but sure.
Well, that's one of the ways. There's a couple of different ways. You can also roll out sugar cookies.
Yeah.
This is the type where you like make like a log.
And then you just kind of slice it.
Yeah, a slice.
A slice. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's like a slice. And then they put it on the side, and then they put like little demarcations based on the rings, right? Because you know that each year a tree puts on a new layer, so you can figure out how old the tree is based on the number of rings there are. And so they like date these trees as far as like how old they are. And like some of the trees, like the one at the Trees of Mystery, they dated that one back to 1096 with the Crusades.
That's so cool.
And then there was another one. I'm looking for the picture. Here we go. That was at one of the ranger stations a little bit farther south. And it went down to, it goes, and that's not even the center, but it goes back to like the year 1000. Vikings discover North America. 1096. Oxford University founded. Yeah. So the beginning ring at the center of this particular cut of this one is from about 912 AD.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
it's
so
just
cool.
Crazy. So like, I mean, again, those numbers sound impressive, and you've seen it, so you know, but just like seeing these big giant trees is so impressive. Yeah. So we did that.
That's awesome.
We went farther south. I will say that one of the things that everybody says, oh, you know, you've got to do this drive or whatever. And the ranger that we talked to first at that first station, she said that the little drive she sent us on was just as good as the Avenue of Giants.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's like the most well-known thing. It's a drive. It's a paved road. It's just a little bit farther south. Yeah, the ranger was wrong. The Avenue of Giants is way cooler. It's like,
so she's just like really into her
cool.
neighborhood then.
I think she is. And don't get me wrong, it was a great drive that we did up in Jedediah Smith. It was really good, and I would actually recommend it. It was beautiful, but it's not as amazing and astounding as the drive down the Avenue of Giants. The Avenue of Giants is just it's so beautiful. And that was where Kyle and I really felt like, okay, now we're in Endor. Yep. Because it not only was the trees, but it had like the foliage on the bottom, and it was just, and then there's so many trees. Like we started in the north, the little guide that you can get for free that kind of gives you like, oh, here's a place to stop and tell you a little bit about it. It's designed to drive from the south up. And so we kind of went through it backwards. Yeah. But I actually think that driving from the north south is actually better, because of course we had to turn around and come back through again. But like the way that we did it, because you turn in and they're right there. All of a sudden it's like, boom, here's the Redwoods. Whereas in the south, it's like, oh, look, it's the Redwoods. And it's like, where are they again? I'm confused. So, but they're like in that north end, there's a whole section that like some of the trees had like been burned out. So like they're totally hollow. And so you can actually, and then they have, some of them have like holes in the side of them so you can go into the tree.
Isn't that so cool?
It's
Being
impressive.
inside of a tree is like so weird.
Yeah.
Like this is one tree.
It's
so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was very, very cool. So we definitely enjoyed that. Yeah, and just being able to just kind of see the trees. And then there was one other one, because we had stopped at a different, I'm trying to remember which one. We stopped at a different ranger station down by the Avenue of Giants. The Avenue of Giants is, there it is. It is. It's Humboldt's Redwood State Park is where it is. And so there's partway through there is there's another ranger station, and it's really good. Like that one I think was
cool.
Probably the better of the two. It's bigger, so it has more stuff in it.
Nice.
But yeah, it was really cool. But anyway, so one of the ladies there was telling us, where to go and what to see. And she told us about this other drive that's like off to the side. So it's like, yeah, okay, here you do the Avenue of Giants. Although we were on the Avenue of Giants to like get to this ranger station. She's like, well, if you go up here and then you kind of go off to the west a little bit, you'll find this other thing. And we just kind of kept driving and we're like, are we there yet? I don't know. And like some of the biggest of the redwood trees are over in this other spot. And there were a lot fewer people over there. And there were several like down redwoods, which was cool to kind of see them, having fallen down. And it was really cool. That's also the second place where I got eaten alive. But,
boy.
By mosquitoes.
Oh, man. Less options of people to eat, I guess.
Yes, that's true.
That's so fun. So I think I know your answer, but would you go back?
I would. I definitely would. I would go back to the Oregon coast before I would go back to the Redwoods, though, if I could only do one.
Sure.
Just because the Redwoods are really cool. I really enjoyed them. But after, it's kind of like, this is going to sound really, really pretentious. It's kind of like churches in Europe. Like, they all start to look the same after a while. And no, like, they're still really impressive. But it is one of those where it's like, it's another big, giant, like, awe-inspiring tree. And they don't start to look the same, but it definitely gets to a place where it's like, I don't know that I felt like I needed to see more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So like that's why I think with those things, I didn't care if I found the tallest one or the widest one, because it was like, these are all so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing very, very tall and very wide trees that are like so gorgeous is just really cool. So then it was like, I don't care if I find that specific one, because they're so similar in that way. Yeah, that's a good point. Interesting. So I'm curious about like, if you did go back, how much would you prioritize going there again or going to the Oregon coast again above going somewhere new? And I'm thinking road trips, because I know once you and I, either of us starts flying, it's like, well, okay, why would you go on a road trip over getting to fly to Europe?
Sure.
But if we're talking about like, you have 4 days and you're going to drive somewhere.
Yeah. And even if it's not necessarily someplace new, like I think I would go some other places first before going back. But I guess it it also depends on like, what am I doing, right? Like, am I going on a road trip? Like if I just want to go somewhere to be away and to relax, the Oregon coast is a great place for that.
Yeah.
Right? Like It's just, there's the beach. And I'm not even like I like to like go lay on it's the Oregon beach. It's not the same as a California beach. Mm-hmm. Although it was funny, as we transitioned from Oregon into California, we noticed the beach changed. Like there was like a clear change, and it wasn't exactly on the border, but it was close. Where things just funny. Like, oh, look, now it looks kind of like a California beach as opposed to like a Washington, Oregon beach. But I just love just the sound of the waves and the water and low tide, because of course I went out in low tide and took pictures of all sorts of really cool sea anemones and barnacles that are competing for space because they have like overlapping niches. And anyway, I was just really excited about the biology. I'm teaching biology again this year, so I had to get pictures for teaching.
Wait, so can you write off this trip as like a work trip then?
That's not really the way teaching works, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. But like, I would really love I've been before, but I would like to go back to Crater Lake, for example. So like I would like to go to Crater Lake before I go back to the Redwoods.
Okay.
I also want to go to, like, I went once when I was like in elementary school, but I really want to go to Mount St. Helens, like as an adult. I've never been as an adult. I want to go back to Mount St. Helens. So I would do that before we go back to the Redwoods, so that there are other things that are like on my list of places I'd like to go or see before I would pick it. But if someone's like, hey, I'm going to drive down Highway 101 to the Redwoods, are you interested in joining me? I'd probably say yes.
Okay. Got it.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. And then is there anything that you feel like you missed on this trip that you would want to try to do if you did this trip again?
Missed on the trip. I mean, sort of, this is going to sound really terrible. There were a number of other tourist traps that we drove past that I'm actually somewhat curious about what they were like. There was like a Kyle and I joked about this because there were, again, several billboards like leading up to it. I don't remember what it was called, like a wildlife park or something, but it had like pictures of like lions and tigers, and we're both like, do they actually have like lions and tigers? Because they're advertising they got lions and tigers, so things like that. There was, what was the other one? It was like an insect something or other that just seemed super weird. I was like, I just want to see what that looks like. What even is this? So like, there's a few things like that it would have been, I would have been entertained to have stopped and seen.
Sure.
But is not necessarily like, oh my gosh, I'm so regretting that, like, I never, whatever.
Yeah, but just like curiosity for like, what is the weirdness that is this tourist trap?
Exactly. Well, kind of like you said, like for the Trees of Mystery or like bad movies, it's like, it's that type of curiosity.
Yeah. There's like enjoyment in how bad things can be sometimes.
Yeah. Which seems just wrong, but it is.
I was just watching a Bob's Burgers episode where they go to this petting zoo that's like a discount petting zoo. And they have like a grandfather clock with like a mouse on it. And they're like, here's the mouse that ran up the clock. And like, just like, it's so dumb and like cheap that I was just like, it made me laugh so hard. It was so funny. Oh, man.
Oh, but the one other thing that I did that I didn't tell you about.
Yeah.
Went to Tillamook.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's new.
Yes, I heard they were rebuilding. Yeah. So how was that?
Big.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's very big. And it's really cool. It kind of felt a little like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Ooh.
Because they have this big, huge hall that's like upstairs. You walk upstairs to get there, and then you like look down on the workers like making the cheese. And so there's like conveyor belts and cutting and all these things. And it definitely had a little bit of a Willy Wonka feel.
Were they singing?
No, and there were no Oompa Loompas. I'm so sorry.
Okay, just checking. I mean, you didn't see anybody get like rolled away by like a crew of short men.
I didn't.
Or anything.
I did not.
Anybody get like sucked up into a ceiling?
No.
Mm-mm. Okay.
No, right, but there is a big, giant tower of cheese that comes down from the ceiling.
What?
You don't see the cheese the whole way. You see it's in like this metal, like square, like tube that where the cheese comes down, and then they like cut parts out and take it out to send it to the other side.
What?
So it's kind of like that.
Extremely fake.
Nope. It's very real.
Oh, boy. And then what did you eat?
Ice cream.
What kind?
I just got orange sherbet. It wasn't anything super fancy or special. But most of the things that they had there were things that I could get at the grocery store too.
Oh, sure.
So like I was looking for like, okay, what's something I could get here that I can't get? And I think they had a few, but I don't think any of them were ones that were all that appealing to me flavor wise. So it was still really good.
Oh, fun. Yay. That's awesome.
And fun tip. If you go, there are 2 sides that you can order from.
Okay.
Inside and outside. And apparently everybody inside couldn't see through the open airway to the outside where there was a significantly shorter line. So Kyle and I were like, it's the same ice cream, right? So we just went out the door and got in the line outside, which was shorter.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yep.
Common sense, things like that. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I got a grilled cheese, which is actually really good. It was a really good grilled cheese. And then we got
nice.
cheese curds.
Yum. Oh, fun. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I gotta go out
good.
to the Oregon coast now. Man, it's gotta happen. Oh, boy. That's so fun. Okay, my final question for you about this trip.
Better not get it wrong.
I hope you're not mean to me with this, but we'll see.
Uh-oh.
If you could take me with you to one part of your trip, what would it be and why?
I mean, the first place that comes to mind is the Trees of Mystery, of course. But you've already been there.
Sure.
You've already been there. I mean, Cheryl, we might have to go to Ocean World. Because I feel like you would really appreciate it.
Did you actually go in the aquarium?
No, because because by the time we got back, they closed at 9 and it was like 8:45. And so so we didn't actually go into apparently you can like pet a shark there or something.
You can pet it. I don't want to pet a shark.
Oh, sure you do. I mean, it's probably a shark that's like a foot long or something like that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, maybe
Ocean World.
Maybe Ocean World. If not, so if it wasn't like you specifically, but just generically, where would I take someone? It would probably be either that very north part of the Avenue of Giants, that very first part that we went in, or that little kind of side trip that we took at the very end that was like way off, that was like infested with mosquitoes. But it was very serene and beautiful, and it was just like all of the things that the Redwoods should be.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And Ocean World as well.
I mean, Ocean World.
Now I kind of want a pin from there, but
Ooh, you should have told me. I could have brought you one.
I'll need to be more specific in your future travels what souvenirs I would like you to get me.
Yep. Yep, you got to be specific, because I am not a souvenir person. I tried for a few years, and they're just not things that appeal to me. I take pictures. Yeah. Those are the things that I do. That's what I take back with me. So
I understand. Yep. Oh, man. That's so fun. Thank you for sharing your trip. I feel like I got to go with you. So that's
Yay.
So great.
Okay, so let's move to the next section then. And I'll give you a chance to share something, Cheryl.
Okay.
So we're going to move into our Wish You Were Here segment, where you, and then I'll talk again too, I guess, where we get to highlight just one attraction from anywhere, any trip, for whatever reason we want, and just share a little bit about it, just to give people some ideas of some cool things to go see and do.
Yeah, so today I want to share about a, is it a restaurant if you don't, yeah, it's still a restaurant. It's a food place.
A food place. You would like to share about a food place.
I would like to share about a food place.
Okay.
In New York, in Greenwich Village, which also happens to be the neighborhood that Friends is supposed to be taking place in. This is not Friends related. I just felt like I should mention that.
Yeah, it's probably necessary.
Well, I'm just thinking for our Friends fans that they could go to this place and then also go look at the exterior shot of the Friends apartment.
Because you can see it from this place?
I mean, like, it's walkable. And then also, like, the arch in the Washington Square Park as well, which is, like, New York has its own little, like, Arc de Triomphe, but not, or whatever. So,
Arc de not Triomphe?
Yeah, I don't know. It's an arc. It's in a park. It's a thing. An arc in a park.
Arc park.
this place is called Dough. I'm guessing is the pronunciation. It is spelled D-O, and then I think it might have like a line over the O, maybe. Let's see if I can figure that out. Yeah, there's a line over the top of the O. We're gonna say it's pronounced dough, and the reason I think that is because it is a place where you can buy edible cookie dough.
Cheryl, all cookie dough is edible.
Well, no, I would agree with like that because I grew up in a household where we ate cookie dough and we ate brownie batter and things like that.
Yeah.
Not everyone is on that train necessarily, so this is maybe like health services approved cookie dough.
How do they do that?
Well, I guess they just don't put eggs in it. I guess that'd be the only difference.
Okay.
But that's fine if you're just eating the dough. It looks and functions like an ice cream shop.
Oh.
Where they have like the glass with all the containers and all the flavors. There's probably like 15 of them. And you can order it in a cone or in a cup.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you just get cookie dough that you eat. And it's so good. And so I heard about it. Actually, okay, so this was a really weird strategy I used. But before I went on this trip I took a year ago to New York and Boston, I went and looked at this Facebook page called Bring Me. It's like, I think it's one of the BuzzFeed ones. There's like Nifty and Bring Me and all these different ones. And that one, they just feature like really unique businesses, I guess. Like some of them are food things and some of them are not. And so I just scrolled through their page for like a while. And since a lot of them they feature in large cities, actually on that trip I also went to LA. So I just started looking up the places that they listed in LA or New York or Boston and was like, do I want to go to any of these places? And one of them was this edible cookie dough place. And I was like, yes, I want to go there very much.
Oh,
and so,
this looks amazing, Cheryl.
It's so good. So I have a lot of food restrictions, but I also can break them. And I don't feel the best afterwards, but like it can be worth it if things are really good. So I was already planning on just like going for it. I can't have wheat, but I was like, for this, I will have something with flour in it. 3 of their flavors.
Does cookie dough usually have wheat?
It has flour in it.
Okay.
You make cookies?
I do not make them. I have made them, but it has been a long time.
There's flour in cookies.
No, that makes
sense.
That's
like a standard.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, whatever. I'm still going to have them. 3 of their flavors are gluten-free. So not only did they have a gluten-free one, they had choices for me. So I had this flavor that like had all these crazy fun things in it. There was like caramel of some sort. There was Nutella in it. I mean, it was like pretty insane. And
That's
cool. It's so good. So that's my wish you were here.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at their website and I'm in love at the moment. They have fried cookie dough balls.
What? Is that new? I didn't know about that when I went there.
I mean, it looks like it. And apparently you can get stuff at Mets games at Citi Field. They have something in Bloomingdale's in Chicago.
Wow, they are expanding then. That's exciting.
I want them to come to Seattle.
Yes. Well, I mean, at state fairs you can usually get fried cookie dough, but
I want this whole place.
Oh, the whole place. Yeah, no, that's
thing.
fair. It was so good. It was so good. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Great recommendation.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's yours?
Interestingly enough, and I didn't know what yours was really before I picked mine. Mine is similar. It's not cookie dough, but it is food related. It's ice cream.
Always a good choice.
I'm a big fan of ice cream. And this is my favorite ice cream place in the world. And I actually mean literally in the world.
Okay.
And it is not in the United States. There are 3 locations. I've only been to one of them. The one that I've been to is in Ljubljana, which is the capital city of Slovenia. And there are 2 in Slovenia, and then there's 1 in Prague in the Czech Republic. and it's called Cacao.
Okay.
And they do more than just ice cream. They also do like fancy drinks and desserts. And I think I actually had breakfast there once, and it was like this yogurt parfait thing that was really good.
Yum.
But their ice cream is so good. It's so good. Like one of my favorites that's hard to say. Because they change out the flavors. They make the ice cream there, like on site. So it's not like it like gets shipped or whatever. Like they make it there, and so they have different flavors, different days, and different times. And some of the ice cream is like super fancy. And one of it's they're called how do they call it? Forest fruits, I think is what they call it. And I've seen that in a couple of the different Central European countries. And that's like what they refer to, like what we would call like berries, like strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. Okay. They call those forest fruits.
Interesting.
And it's so good. But they also have a brownie one.
Ooh, yeah.
And they have a lemon one. So they've got like the rich, deep ones, and they got like the light. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, I'm so hungry now.
It's so good. And now what I want to get some cookie dough from dough and then get some ice cream from cacao and put them together.
Yes. Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So wish you were here. Wish I was there too.
Yeah.
And there are a lot. I mean, there's a number of other places that I've been that have some really good ice cream also. But I think that one's my favorite. I mean, because in Ljubljana, it's also on the, I'm going to say it wrong, Ljubljanica. It's the river that runs through Ljubljana, and so like it's just like you can sit like right there on the river. It's like a block from like the center of town with triple bridges, Prešeren Square that has like everything. It's just it's the whole thing. The atmosphere, the food. It's wonderful.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Fun.
Yay. But no? I think we're just about out of time, aren't we, Cheryl?
I think we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been great.
It has been good.
We went to the Redwoods and to the Oregon coast and to New York and Slovenia. So there we go.
Good trip. Good trip.
Oh, it was a good trip. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I can probably put up a few pictures, especially of Ocean World.
Yes, you should.
Onto our Instagram. So if you wanted to follow us on Instagram or Twitter or the social medias, we are at TMWY Podcast. That's for Take Me With You. TMWY Podcast.
There we go. Timwe.
Timwe.
You can also email us if you have ideas for guests for our show, or if you're planning a trip and you have questions that you want our opinions on, or just want to share about awesome trips you did, then you can email us at timwepodcast@gmail.com.
We also have a phone number, so you can call us. We don't answer it all the time, but you can leave us a voicemail, or you can send us a text message. The number is 406-763-8699. 406-763-8699, which sort of kind of spells 406 pod Timwe.
Yes, well, it does spell.
I mean, it does. It's 406 PODTMWY.
Boom.
Yeah, and while you're out there checking us out on the social media, internet, web stuff, if you want to rate our podcast, the episode or a podcast, or give us a review, that would be wonderful. We would greatly appreciate that.
Yes, please. Also, so much thank yous. Oh, boy.
So much thank yous. We're going to do that, huh?
So much thank yous to Beth Morrell for our artwork. You can check her out at Beth Is Something.
Thanks, Beth. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth.
All right. And until next time, don't forget to take me with you.
Take me with you.